Good morning, USA, and welcome to another episode of the Bernie or Bust Show, unshaved, unbathed, unedited, and unscripted. We're going to tackle the squad today. We're going to tackle Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the other members of the freshman House members, and we're going to ask them, why are you not endorsing Bernie? And then we're going to ask again that you share this video, that you share this petition that it's linked to, and we get the word out. We need to hold some people's feet to the fire. And the first person to weigh in on the topic is Crystal Ball, the inimitable Crystal Ball. She has really been knocking it out of the park lately. Why hasn't AOC endorsed Bernie?
There are some indications that AOC's time in D.C. has softened her aggressive stance, most notably a New York Times profile in which AOC herself mused openly about the best way to get things done. She explained her newly careful approach to backing insurgent primary challengers this way. It's not just about being an activist. It forces you to grow. So it doesn't mean you don't endorse activists, but it also requires an assessment for a capacity of growth and how you navigate a space like this.
No.
It's a hard thing to be a bomb thrower from inside the caucus room. You get to know people. You like them. You don't want to be oppositional. Everyone around you is telling.
I want to make sure that you understand she just transitioned from AOC's words to now she's talking directly to AOC to explain what's going on. When she started to say, it's not easy being a bomb thrower, that's where she switched to herself speaking. I didn't understand that the first time I watched this.
You that the way to be effective is to work together. Be a workhorse, not a show horse. Every tool of coercion and compliance is leveraged by leadership and by the influence peddlers and career staffers to force you to conform to the proper civility and decorum and level of deference to your superiors. The supposedly sacrosanct ways of Washington are forced upon you, and it is all total and utter bullshit. Congress doesn't do anything anymore, not really. It's all an elaborate dance of kabuki theater, InfoWars, and grandstanding for cable news. Pelosi, with her speaker's gavel, has, yes, a certain kind of power. But the commander of a grassroots army, now that's real power. Just consider, as an example, this impeachment situation. Pelosi didn't want to launch an impeachment inquiry, but the pressure got too hot, and so her position collapsed. One of the most powerful people in Washington brought to heel by grassroots demands. I think it's fair to say that the way AOC plays this endorsement decision will say something fundamental about how she sees her own role in Washington and what theory of change she really subscribes to. There are good practical arguments for waiting a while on the endorsement. Wait until it's more clear which way the wind blows, of course. Gives you a better chance of ending up on the right team with greater access to the right levers of power.
That's what Elizabeth Warren did. And that's where I was incredulous. I couldn't believe Elizabeth Warren was waiting to endorse Bernie. I just thought of her as on the same team. And that's when I started to look into Elizabeth's money trail and look into her connection to Raytheon and other contractors. I started to figure out that Elizabeth was speaking out of both sides of her mouth. But what alerted me was that she was waiting to endorse Bernie. What it showed me at that moment was that she is a careerist. She does what makes sense for her own career. She watches which way the wind is blowing, and then she decides what to do. There is no other good reason. There's no other explanation for why AOC is waiting than she's trying to be a careerist. And I hadn't heard that explanation that Crystal started with here about the way to get things done in Washington. The way to get things done in Washington is from the outside. It's from outside the system. And that's what Crystal is trying to tell her. This is a horribly slippery slope that she's stepping onto. And I really wish she could go back to being a bomb thrower. If she waits to endorse Bernie, I'm done with her. If she waits to see that the wind is blowing in Bernie's direction and then endorses him, screw her. I don't have time for people like that. We need the true grassroots, bomb-throwing progressives. And if there's only one, then we're in trouble. The media look at things the same way that Washington does, the same way that Pelosi does. And so for us to win, we have to get our own media going. And I don't have 43,000 viewers yet or subscribers. And I've noticed on Facebook that they don't even allow my links to my YouTube channel to take potential viewers to my YouTube channel. They get hijacked and get brought back. They don't like the topic. They have algorithms, and I don't even know how they do it. But when I've put out other information on Facebook, I can get 2,000 hits on things sometimes, depending on what it is. I think it really does come down to independent media being throttled by the big boys. And so I don't even know if there's a solution to that. I don't even know. Sometimes I wonder if we should even keep trying. But I'm not going to quit, and I hope you're not going to quit either.
There's a good argument to be made for endorsing Elizabeth Warren in the near term. She's rising in the polls, and she's been anointed by the media and a lot of corners of the establishment. But it's still early. You earn an ally for life if you go out on a limb with them when it's still...
You earn an ally for life if you stick your neck out, if you go out on a limb. This is the time to prove yourself. It won't have anything like the kind of impact later that it would have now if you endorse now.
Risky. At this point, honestly, there's not a good strategic argument to be made for endorsing Bernie. His support is stable but not rising. The media and the establishment absolutely loathe him. He's polling well in several early states, but he does appear stuck after the third debate, the momentum elsewhere. But it says something quite deep about a person when they make a decision that is so clearly not the right politically calculated move.
Right.
Think about Tulsi resigning as vice chair of the DNC. They will never, ever let her back in the club again. Or as a counterexample, think about Warren waiting and then when the outcome was clear, lining up behind her ideological opposite, Hillary Clinton. Endorsing Bernie at this point is not a DC choice, it's a movement choice, an activist choice, a surefire way to get you disinvited from certain polite segments of DC society, and an unjustifiable gamble if you're playing for short-term power positioning. But if your commitment is really to the movement, if you believe that what the Democratic Party really needs is a good existential threat and outright hijacking by the multiracial working class, then the choice is crystal clear. Most endorsements don't mean a damn thing these days, honestly. Just ask Cory Booker, who's racked them up in state after state only to watch his campaign fail to launch. AOCs, though, it does matter. It matters for the progressive candidate who receives it, but maybe even more so, it matters for AOC. Team player or existential threat? Time to choose.
Yes. Team player or existential threat? Time to choose. So take this petition. Go here. I'm going to link to it. Endorse Bernie now. No careerism. This petition has a link to the video you just watched. She's asking on behalf of many, why hasn't AOC endorsed Bernie? Every tool of compliance and coercion is leveraged by leadership, by the influence peddlers, and by career staffers to force you to conform to the proper civility, decorum, and deference to your superiors. The supposedly sacrosanct ways of Washington are forced upon you, and it is all total and utter bullshit. Speaker Pelosi with her gavel has a certain kind of power, but the commander of a grassroots army, now that's real power. It's time. If you'll never have a better time to prove your bona fides as a true progressive. Don't pull an Elizabeth Warren. You can't have it both ways. That's what careerists try to do. Don't be a careerist. Be an existential threat with Bernie. Either lead, follow, or get out of the way. Time won't wait.